Welcome back to Book Break. I am here today to tell you that if you are thinking about doing NaNoWriMo, you absolutely should. You can do it. It has been done before. So NaNoWriMo, just in case you didn't know, is an annual challenge every November. It's National Novel Writing Month. The aim, if you take part in the official organised NaNoWriMo event, is to write every day and aim to write 50,000 words by the end of November. If you manage that, you have got yourself a full novel draft. And in this video, I want to tell you about some amazing books that probably are sitting on your shelf, books you definitely would have heard of that you may not know were written in NaNoWriMo. I'm also going to tell you about a few other books that weren't written specifically in NaNoWriMo, but were written just as fast. So you know you can do this. It is possible to write a novel in a month. So possibly the most famous book to come out of NaNoWriMo is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. That book was actually written across 3 NaNoWriMos. It is a hefty book. It's got a pretty big page count. So the author Erin Morgenstern started that book in NaNoWriMo 2005 and then returns to it each of the following Novembers. And that is how that beloved magical book was born. So just think, whatever you start working on this NaNoWriMo could end up being your debut bestseller. Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen started as a NaNoWriMo project during a particularly tough month. Sarah Gruen had a broken foot and several ill pets to look after, so she decided just to focus on writing something fun. And I've actually got some really good words here from Sarah Gruen herself. This is from her NaNoWriMo pep talk, which you can find on the website. "We can do this. However far behind you are, take comfort in knowing that there is somebody else out there in the same boat, and look for that next fun scene. And then the next. And if that doesn't work, set someone on fire. In your book, of course." Great words of advice. Another really famous one is Fangirl. So Rainbow Rowell was already a successful published writer when she decided to give NaNoWriMo a go, and she was pretty skeptical about it, but then she produced Fangirl, one of BookTube's favourites. She actually wrote 50,000 words during NaNoWriMo and then doubled it when she kept working on it afterwards, but during revisions she said that the majority of the words she wrote during NaNoWriMo actually made it to the final version. The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory is a romance book that was a NaNoWriMo project, and again I've got some great words of encouragement from the author. "Stop thinking about those days you only eked out a few hundred words. Stop being mad at yourself for the days when you chose sleep, or seeing friends, or just scrolling through Twitter over writing. It's okay to rest sometimes, and being mad at yourself for that doesn't help you. Instead, celebrate yourself for how far you've come." So that's really important. Don't give up just because you have a few days off or a few days that don't work as planned during NaNoWriMo. Another great success story is With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. So she started this book in NaNoWriMo 2013 and admits that she didn't really have much hope for it. She was really just doing it as a way to practice her writing, which by the way is a totally worthy goal for NaNoWriMo. You do not have to end up with a published book for your NaNoWriMo to have been a massive success, but this is just a really nice anecdote to show you never know what might happen when you give something a go. Possibly the most impressive NaNoWriMo feat is that Marissa Meyer wrote 3 books in the Lunar Chronicles during NaNoWriMo. She wrote Cinder, Scarlet and Cress all in the same NaNoWriMo, all in 1 month. If Marissa Meyer can write 3 books in NaNoWriMo, there is hope for all of us to write 1. And then I've just got a few last examples of books that weren't written in NaNoWriMo specifically, but were written incredibly fast, so should still give you some motivation. The first is Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. So Kevin Kwan was approached by an agent who said that they loved his unfinished manuscript and asked if he could have the rest finished within a month. And Kevin Kwan confidently said yes, not admitting that he was only halfway through. So he ended up having to write 50,000 words in a month, which is the exact same goal that NaNoWriMo gives you. And he smashed it. It's now a best-selling novel and a hit film. On the Road by Jack Kerouac was written in just 3 weeks. So Jack Kerouac would type very fast and he hated being interrupted, even just to change the paper in his typewriter. So before he started writing, he used to tape together continuous sheets of paper to make a roll about 120 feet long. And you can actually still see that original manuscript. It's preserved at the University of Indiana. The The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson was written in just 3 days, according to the legend. So legend has it that Stevenson was desperately ill with tuberculosis and very heavily drugged with medicinal cocaine, and sat at his desk in a fever and just would not stop writing for 3 days straight. Allegedly, his wife then read the finished manuscript, which was of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and thought it was rubbish, so she threw it in the fire, which meant that Stevenson then had to write the whole thing again in another 3 feverish days. Luckily, this one didn't end up in the fire. And then the fastest book writing story I have heard so far while researching this is that it only took John Boyne 2.5 days to write The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas. He did do quite a lot of planning beforehand, but once he started writing, it only took him 2.5 days to get the words on paper, barely stopping to eat or sleep. So I would love to know if you've heard any other amazing book writing stories like that one, and I'm also really interested to know how many of you are going to be attempting NaNoWriMo this month. Do leave us a comment below and let us know what your plans are. In the meantime, I will link to a playlist here of all of our most popular videos so you can click through and have a browse of what to watch next. See you next time.